Hey guys, I am back with another video, and in this video I am going to show you how can we implement file upload functionality with the new Blazor SSR in .NET 8 with enhanced forms. So in earlier versions of Blazor, the Blazor server and Blazor WebAssembly, those were interactive. So we had direct access to the browser's file using IBrowserFile. So we could simply upload that using the file upload or file input components. We can directly choose a file and then we had access to the code using WebAssembly or Blazor server. We could directly interact with that file using iBrowserFile. We could access that, save that, and we could do all kind of stuff with that. But with this new Blazor SSR, it is statically server side rendered, right? So it does not have interactivity. That means how this works, we simply this component gets executed on the server, it generates the HTML output and it sends that HTML output to the client, to the browser. Now there is no interactivity. So if we choose file, we select a file to upload, there is no interactivity, nothing can be done on the client. So the only way we could pass that is to submit a form. And in Blazor with .NET 8, we have that enhanced forms, which actually makes fetch request. It does not completely post the page. It simply uses the fetch request, JavaScript fetch request internally. So using that, we could simply post that file to the server, and on the server also the same component gets executed, and then we have access to that file and we can simply save that file on the server. Okay, so this is not this is straightforward the way I told you. So there is one catch, so I'm going to show you how to implement this functionality. So I'm going to create this new Blazor web app. Okay, let's say file upload Blazor SSR. All right, so I'm creating this, and interactive render mode, none, because we are using just SSR, no interactivity at all. Okay, .NET 8 authentication type none, we are not implementing any authentication in this. All right, let's create it. So it's here. All right, in components, we have pages, we have error, home, weather. So in home page only we will let's say implement this functionality. Okay. All right, so let's first add a code block here. All right, and now I'm going to create a model here. Ideally it should be in a separate file, separate file for model, but for me, because I'm going to use it just for the demo on this page with simple model, so I'm going to have it here only. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say private class, let's say file upload model, or let's call just file model. Okay, and here I'm going to have three properties, not three. So let's have some name, and then for file, using this Blazor SSR, we don't need iBrowserFile, we need to use iFormFile, which we have been using with MVC. So iFormFile, and we could name it whatever we want. Let's call it file only. All right, so this is our file model which we are going to use. Now in here, what I'm going to do, I'll say div class, let's say container. Inside this, I'll say div class call sm4, and I will move it to the center of the screen. So on this container, I can try display flex, and on this sm, I can use mx auto. All right, so it will be horizontally centered. Okay, in here I am going to use edit form, right? Because we want to use file upload, for that we need form. So I'll use edit form. Now for edit form, we need one model. So let's have that model here. So here I'll say public file model, and let's call it model only. Get and set. All right, with the default value of this new, of course. What it is saying, let's make it also private. All right. Now for this edit form, we can define this model with this model which we have here like this. All right. Now we want to use enhance form, so I'll add it enhance. Then it's always a good practice to use form name. So with form name, let's say file form, it could be anything. All right. Now on this model, because this code, this is going to be executed, this component is going to be executed for both, for get and post. That means when we first open this page with the get request, then it will be, and when we submitting the form, then also the same thing is going to be executed. For that we need to tell it that by default you should use this new, but when we are posting it, we will say supply parameter from form. And which form? This form name file form. So whenever there is a post request, try not to set this using this, but try getting the value from this form, which is this form. All right. And then I'm going to have a method here. So private async task, let's say save file model async, something like this. All right. And now here we can access this models file, and we can upload that. So here I'll say var file equals to model.py. Let's do this right now. Okay. And inside this model, I'll say div class mb3. Then I'm going to say label class form label with, let's say, name. And then I'm going to use input text with bind value model.name and class form control. Then I'm going to have one more for file. Okay, so here I'll say model.file, and this should be input file. All right, everything looks fine. Now on this edit form, I'm going to say on submit, and let's call this. All right, everything looks fine. Now let's try to run it and we'll see it. So here, instead of hello world, let's say file upload with Blazor SSR and managed form. Let's try to run it. We'll see if this works out of the box or we need to implement something. All right. So it's coming. It came. Oh, I didn't add button, right? So let's add div class 3, and inside this I'm going to have input type submit class, let's say btn, and btn same btn success, and here I'll say value, let's say submit. Let's run it. All right, so it is here. Now if I add something here, let's say my name, and I choose a file, let's use this file only, and if I submit, breakpoint got hit, that means it came here. Now if we check our model, in our model We have name Abhay, but file is null. Why so? We have input file, we have bind value, but this file is null, right? So this does not work out of the box. We need to implement something additional, right? So for this, first thing, if you have ever worked with file upload within a form, we need to add enc type to the form, right? Which is multipart slash form data. This is required. This is a pure HTML. It has nothing to do with Blazor. Okay. For file uploads from a form, we need enc type multipart form data. Okay. Let's see if it works now. It says submit. Now we check. We have name, but file is still null. That means just adding enc type, it is not going to work. Okay. Now, if for the forms to work, forms work with the name attribute. So if we check for this file, input type file, we need explicit name attribute. If you check for this first name text box, input text, we have input. The Blazor generated this one for us, name equals model dot name. Class this, nothing else. And if we check for file, we have input class and input type file. There is no name, but the HTML forms work with name attributes. So if any element, any input control, when we say input, so these are input type text, file, input type number, all the input fields, checkbox, radio buttons, select drop down, and text area. All these are input fields. So for all these to submit data to the form, to the server, we need name attribute. So for input text, it generated automatically, but for input file, it did not generate. So that means this thing does not have to do anything with this input file. So this bind value with this model.file, this does not work with input file, right? So for this, we need explicit name. We can change this bind value to name attribute. Okay, and this should be direct string. This is one case, and this model.file, this should be same as this. So this is basically name of our model, which is this. If I could have changed it something, I don't know, maybe test file model, if this name was like this, then it should have been automatically with this underscore test. Oh my god, you might not be seeing this, right? You can see it now. I hope you can see it now. And for this, this source control, this source code, I'm going to, you can get it free from the description. I'm going to add a link to this. All right. So this should have been like this. So this name, it should be the name of the model which we are using, right? I showed you. So in our case, I'm using this model. So just model. Now if I save it, let's try to run it again. Now let's see if it works this time. So we have this first thing. Let's see what HTML it has generated. So now if we see input name model.file, this is similar to the this text box has, right? Name model.name. So these two are kind of similar. Now let's add something. So Abhay, and then choose file. I'm choosing this file, then submit. Now we came here. Now we check our model, and boom, we have name and we have file. Okay, and from this file we can access everything. We have headers, we have name, type, file name, everything. And now we have access to this file. We can save it the way we could have saved it. right? So if you want to do something like this, we can, if you want to save it, let's say in interval w root, so we can simply inject I web host environment, web host env, let's call it this, and then here we could say simply file path equals path.combine. We have web host env. From this we can access web root path, which is this www root, and from there we could add anything. So let's say inside this it is going to create uploads folder and then file.file name. Now this file name, we should not trust this file name. We should always generate our own name. We should always clean up this file name, right? This is not safe, but for this demo purpose, I'm just showing you this. All right. So first we should verify that this uploads folder exists. So for that, we could say folder path equals, we'll do this path.combine web host web root path and then uploads. After that, we can simply say directory dot create directory this folder path. So it is going to create this directory if it does not exist. If it exists, then it is not going to do anything, right? Then we'll have file path. Then this folder path is already there. So in this path.combine, we can simply remove these two things and we can have this folder path. Then file.file name. Now we have this file. Now we can simply say try catch, and then we could say file stream equals new file stream and like this. Now this file, if we check, this is direct iForm file, so we cannot direct copy this directly, so we need to get the stream from this, right? So for this, what we could do, we'll say using var, let's say file stream, or we could say uploaded file stream, and here we have this file dot open read stream, this method, which is going to give us a stream which we can save. So this upload file stream is the stream we can copy to this file stream. Now we are copying this to file stream. Now this file stream has the actual file with this name. Let's verify it. So for this, what we can do, we can have a private string. Right now I'm using image. You could do this with any file. The only thing will be you will not be able to display that file because we have image display functionality using that img tag. So here I'll say uploaded image URL. All right. Now we can use this. So here, after this, we can simply say uploaded image URL equals slash upload slash file.file name, which we are using here. All right. Then on this uploaded image URL, we can have this somewhere, maybe, I don't know, maybe here. I'll say if not string dot is null or white space, this uploaded image URL. Then here we could say img src equals this upload image URL. And here I'm going to do img float, which is a bootstrap class to make it compatible or maybe resized with the screen. All right. Now if we add a breakpoint here and if we run this now, it should work as we are expecting it to work. Okay, it came. Let's choose a file, submit. It came here. We have file, we have folder path, we have file path, then we have stream, read stream. This is uploaded image URL is this one. And let's continue. And now if we see, we just uploaded this image and we can see this here. All right. So this is how we can implement file upload functionality with this new Blazor SSR. All right. So I'll summarize it for you. Because this is statically server side render, there is no interactivity, so we cannot have input file uh, that on change, which we can have with interactive versions of Blazor. So Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor server, we can use this on change and we can access this file directly here. But with this Blazor SSR, this is statically server side rendered. There is no interactivity, so this is not going to work. So first thing, we need to have this form, and on this form we are using this enhanced form. So first thing, we need to add this ENC type multipart form data. After that, for this input file, for all other controls, this bind value works, but for input file, this bind value does not work. So what we need to do, instead of bind value, we need to use name, which is a HTML attribute. Okay, in order to work with forms, we need this name attribute. So for our other input text, input checkbox, input radio, input text area, all the input select, all those, Blazor automatically generates this name attribute on the basis of this bind value. But for input file, Blazor does not generate this name attribute. So for this, we need to explicitly generate this. So this is going to be name, and then this model.file, and this model is actually a model name we are using. And then file, this is actually a property which we are using, right? So if we have, instead of this model, let's say if it was something like upload model, so it should have been, instead of model.file, it should have been upload model.file. And then this model should have been upload model and this model, right? And if the, let's say this, its name was not file, in file model, let's say iForm file, anything, maybe custom image file, anything, it could be anything. So for this, we needed to change this. So this input file name upload model dot custom image file. All right. So these are not hard coded values. These are this is the model name. This is the actual file property which we need. And then type of this should be iForm file in this case for Blazor SSR. All right. And then when we're submitting it, we can directly access that upload model dot whatever file it is, and from that file we can simply upload it to the server. All right, let me move back to this model.file. All right, so do let me know in the comment if you have already worked with file upload with this enhanced forms with Blazor SSR and you knew how this is going to work. All right, so please like this video, share this video, subscribe my channel if you learned something new, and I will be back soon with some other video. Till then, bye bye. Happy coding.